Hey there, we hope this finds you doing well. We are about to start, as we do every year, with 21 days of prayer and fasting in the new year. We'll start January 11th and go through the end of the month. And I wanted to take a little bit of time, because this may be new to some of you, to talk about fasting. What is it and why do we do it and all of that? And there's lots of information that you can find out on the internet, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview because that may be a brand new topic for a lot of people. So fasting is an ancient practice of practicing self-denial around the area of food for a spiritual purpose. So it's different than, as there's a lot of conversation kind of lately around fasting as a health practice or a diet practice. And while that may have other benefits, this is different. This is living into the reality of saying, I am going to go without food. And we'll talk about how in a little bit, because there's different ways of doing that. I'm going to go without food because I need God's presence even more than I need food. I am going to tell myself no in an area that I am constantly in need and craving, because there is something else that I actually need more. It's an act of desperation, really, of crying out to God, because we know that He loves us and hears us, but it reorients our inner world around our priorities and around what's important. And this is something that has been practiced by the church for thousands of years. Jesus started His own ministry with a period of fasting, and we combine that with prayer as we kind of look to God to respond to what we are asking for. And we are asking for awakening as a church. The first week, we're focusing on awakening in our own hearts. Second week, awakening in our church at LaCroix. And third week, awakening in our nation, that God would come and wake us up. We can't create that kind of spiritual awakening, pulling us out of a spiritual sleep. We can't do that on our own. But we can ask God to do that for us. There's a couple of things that we're going to equip you with. One is this prayer and fasting guide that we have put together, and we've collected prayers that have been used and written by our church over the last several years. We kind of compiled some of them this year, and they're in here. You can find this online on the app and the website under events, if you go under 21 Days of Prayer and Fasting. Or we have hard copies here at the church if one hasn't been mailed to you already. You can either come to the church and get one at a worship service, or you can call if you need to, or you can email someone here at the church, like Cindy at cwalton@lacroixchurch.org, and we can get you one of these. In there is, on each day, there's a kind of a prayer focus and a scripture and a prayer, and then a space for journaling. At the front of it, though, there's some describing some different kinds of fasts. And there's different ways of engaging. One is what's called the normal fast, which is that's going out without food and only having water for the period of your fast. That's probably the most common throughout Christian history. Second one is you could call the partial fast, which is abstaining from certain kinds of food, usually modeled after Daniel, often called the Daniel fast, in the book of Daniel, when he went with only vegetables and maybe fruit for the period of his fast. Often around our church and in our tradition, we'll use what's sometimes called the Wesley fast, modeled after John Wesley's way of fasting, where he would set aside like a morning and an afternoon to fast, and he would break the fast with dinner. Actually, he was very British, so he broke it with afternoon tea. And so that may be a good way for 21 days to say we are going to fast until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or until our evening meal, or something like that. And these are ways that we can get in touch with our desperation, with our need. And in that desperation that's happening internally, that discomfort, we can cry out to God and ask Him to come and move and wake us up in our own hearts in our church and in our nation because we need God to move. So as this practice is becoming normal in our church, this is part of what we do at LaCroix. We would ask you to join us in prayer and fasting. And if you have any questions or need information, check it out on the website or get a hold of us here at the church. We would love to help as we seek the Lord together. So thank you. We love you. Talk to you soon.